Devastating and heartbreaking news that came out earlier this morning from the Author of Love Hina. This is their official Twitter account. So this is just blatant censorship. Like, just straight up censorship. Like, Western companies are forcing Japan to bow down and censor not just anime and manga to be viewed overseas, but to literally censor the content at its very source. This is just tragic. It's tragedy itself, because people like to believe like maybe Japan will never censor themselves, and the only time you'll ever see censorship is like through like maybe when it's distributed overseas, like let's say in the United States or Europe or something. We get the censored version, and if you want to watch the original cut of the version, you'll have to go to Japan and have a fan translation group maybe translate it or something, but you theoretically could get an uncensored version of it. But this right here, this official post that was made by Ken, aka the Author of Love Hina, pretty much has Western companies forcing their ideology and their viewpoints and everything on Japan at its very source, and basically backing out to where they cannot make any money. This is honestly an ongoing story that's been happening for the last few years now. It's been an ongoing battleground, actually, with card companies in Japan and censorship. And you might have heard about this story recently, actually. About 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, I made a video talking about, like, Pixiv and even DLsite facing issues with card companies and how these card companies were just basically playing ball. Like, they were playing, you know, very mean. Like, for instance, if they didn't remove content, like if DLsite or Pixiv didn't remove certain content, these card companies like Visa and MasterCard would pull themselves off the site, and they no longer would be able to have any form of payments. And to kind of simplify this in the best way, basically, if you are someone that wants to make a purchase, obviously you might use a Visa card, a MasterCard, you get the point, debit, credit card, you get the point. And, if these card companies no longer support said site, and that is the main form of payment that site takes, obviously, they're not going to be able to make money. So, think about it like this. There is a store, sells manga. The only form of payment they can accept is, obviously, since it's online, it's an online site, they accept Visa and MasterCard. And if those two companies are like, we don't like your content, we don't want to support this content, they pull out, well, obviously, that means that site no longer can make money. So, effectively, they die. The site just straight up dies. And the reason why these card companies are doing it is because they want Japan to censor themselves. They don't like certain content that's on there, like certain fan service content and stuff like that. And so they want Japan to self-censor itself before these companies could even put their payment, like their card information stuff, on the said site. So it's pretty messed up. This is something that's been ongoing for a while now with like DLsite and Pixiv. For instance, Pixiv has like a lot of artists and stuff on it, while DLsite is a site that has a lot of visual novels. A lot of, like, you know, Japanese creators make, let's say, RPG Maker games or visual novel games. They're hosted on the site, and obviously, you know, there's a lot of, let's say, 18 plus type content on that site, and Visa and MasterCard have effectively pulled out. But the story gets a lot worse than that. It's not just Visa and MasterCard that's theoretically pulling out of the site, or out of these sites now. It's also the main Japanese card company pulling out of these sites. And Ken himself even talks about this, and even in this post as well. This is a Google translation of the official Japanese post from the site. But basically, there is a brand, like a card company that's like Japanese something, like, I forget what it's called, but there is a credit card company in Japan that has, you know, their own card and stuff, and they have also pulled out of the site of Manga Z, and they're starting to kind of follow suit with other sites as well. And this pretty much means that this card company is most likely bowing down to the will of Visa and MasterCard to be able to continue to operate and do business. So what is the solution here? Well, to be honest with you, I don't have a solution. I don't really know exactly what Ken could really do, besides what he kind of lays out in this post, but also in the official post here, that the only way for the site and these other sites to continuously operate is through either crowdfunding from the people around, or through donations. Because if these card companies do not want to play ball, and basically they don't allow payments, then these sites just can't operate. You can't keep the lights on if you're not making money. That's the truth. So it's sad, because this all stems back around to censorship, and that these companies are just wanting to force their ideology for their own companies onto Japan and have them censor the stuff at the very source. So let's talk about this for a second and kind of what this really does mean. And it's very easy for a long time now people to be like, oh, if content is censored, okay, you know, it's only censored in the West. In Europe, United States, you get the point. And, you know, you can actually see the uncensored version if you maybe go online, because obviously Japan has its own uncensored version. That was how it was meant to be. But the thing is with these card companies now being very heavy-handed and really pushing their thoughts and feelings and ideology onto Japan, it's forcing Japan authors and these companies in Japan to self-censor themselves at the very source, to where it won't just affect, like, how anime are in Western societies, but also just how it is in Japan. For instance, authors no longer will be able to maybe have a lot of fan service or certain ways characters are drawn, maybe a character being beautiful, it won't be allowed because of how these card companies are currently acting. So, this is going to have a ripple effect on Japan and its culture and just how anime is created going forward, and manga as well. It's legitimately sad. This is just straight up tragedy. This is basically the culture of Japan being trampled upon and being forced to change because obviously it doesn't fit the ideology of certain, companies, etc., and their agendas. It's gross stuff, man. It is legitimately gross. What's even sadder about this whole ordeal is that this site, Manga Z, that is being shut down, according to the information, Manga Z was a free distribution, site for manga, for you could read manga in Japan and stuff. I'm assuming the purchases that were made were probably for, merchandise and stuff like that for the series support, but it more or less was a site for the fans. It was for the community of manga, people that love manga and anime, and that's what it was for, and it's being forced to basically shut itself down. Ken also is a very well-known and prolific author and artist in Japan. He is the creator of Love Hina, and I know in this day and age there's a lot of new fans that might not be aware of Love Hina and its overall cultural impact. But Love Hina really is a impactful and culturally successful series that really made way for, for instance, the romance, rom-com, harem genre. It is very iconic. It is something that legitimately has inspired hundreds upon hundreds, maybe thousands upon thousands of creators in Japan to write their stories. And so seeing the author Ken having to basically self-censor themselves and censor the actual, site, it's devastating, man. I hate seeing this. It legitimately makes me extremely sad. It just makes me extremely sad, honestly, all things considered, because it's I hate seeing an author having to go through this, or just anybody, honestly. Yeah, so this is an ongoing campaign of censorship that's been happening for a while now, and, this post is just really devastating news. I hope that something is worked out. I hope that, there's a crowdfunding or whatever, because if I'm able to crowdfund, I'll try to help out myself. I hate seeing this, man. This is messed up. This is legitimately messed up. I hate seeing, literally, just how, at the very source, Japan is having to censor itself now. I'll leave it at that, though. Thank you so much for watching. May all of you have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.